Lord, have mercy. Hi, I made it. So I restarted my Chromebook, and when I did, I had to reset my password because I couldn't remember my password. That's just crazy. I don't even remember what that was. Crazy. So, Ori, I know where your phone's at. Because it's 7:58. I was talking on it. Just saying. I had to put somebody, I told somebody it was time to go to bed, and she was arguing with me. She called me at 7:57. Just saying. How is everybody? I know it. She's wearing me out today. She is. Maybe she was at one point. At 7:58, she was talking to me. You were texting me about the Pebbles thing, and all of a sudden I'm getting ready to get up and come in here, and Nina's calling. I thought, what's wrong now? I said, hello. And she says, hey, Nina. I was like, oh, crap. Well, maybe she considers me Nene Medea. Medea Nene. I don't know. Lord, girls, it may just be the three of us tonight since I'm so late getting on. That's okay, because this is going to be a good one. And I'm just going to read until I quit reading. Y'all ready? Looks like it's just two of you. All right. So, there's the cover. And I really ain't sure what kind of book this is. I mean, I know it's motorcycle and all that, but it's kind of strange to start with. And I only gotten through like chapter her. This is book 2, by the way. So I don't know what book 1 is, but I'm gonna have to get it now and read it too. All righty. So chapter 1, Echo. She don't need her own phone. Don't you dare give her her own phone. If you do, don't you dare give her my number. All right. Chapter 1, Echo. There's nothing like the freedom of riding, your body open to the elements while navigating at record speed. This is as close as I will get to the weightlessness of flight again, since I've no desire to be back up in the air for what I'm worth. This is an alternative. If you were to do that, I would never read to you again. Just saying. This is an alternative I'm willing to live with to get the feeling that I need. No chains here, but gravity. There are roughly 30 men in our group, some in front and some behind, as we maneuver the turns of the winding road. The trees are starting to change. The reds, oranges mixed with the yellows, and what's left of the greens are always a sight year after year. Our destination is another 15 miles, and I'll appreciate the isolation until then. As soon as we come to a stop, Tank will have to smooth out my rough edges and deruffle any feathers. After years of being back home, I gotta take these off so I can read. Those are my real glasses. I can't read what you guys got there, but I can read this. So, sorry. Here, let me turn it this way so you can see my face better. See my pretty mug. After years of being back home, I still have yet to find a transition back into life or a place where I fit. The only one that comes close to understanding is Tank. I'm fortunate that he has yet to discover what a mistake he's made by keeping my company. I won't be the one to alert him either way. The 15 miles seem shorter as we follow the signs to the state park. Every year around this time, we come to the same spot. It's got a nice sized pond and an area big enough to play some tackle football. A family of four spots us, the kids with wide, curious eyes and their parents with worry between their brows. Before all of us park our bikes, they are in the car and backing out of the lot. Most are so quick to judge, and that judgment keeps people away. For that, I am grateful. Chapter 1.5. Tank. Man, it feels good to be out. It seems like it's been forever since we've been out on a club ride. It's not often that the club is in the same place unless it's for church. I spot Vince in the crowd and start walking, knowing Echo will follow shortly behind. Making the whole group around Vince turn with fingers between my lips to produce an ear-splitting whistle. I call out, "Give the man some air. We only just arrived, you gossiping ninnies." "You're only sorry because you didn't get over here first," Bear smirks. I give Bear an answering grin because despite Bear's response, most started to spread out toward the other clusters, albeit grumbling. I smack Vince's back in greeting, and he shoves me away while I smile. I'm thinking Vince and Sarah was in the first book just because of the way it goes. "How's the old lady?" I ask. "You come over here to ask about Sarah?" His frown feigns offense. "Well, she's prettier than you and more my type." I hold up my hands to show my jest before he can decide upon me. "Seriously, how's she doing? Getting big?" I chuckle when his mouth twists. "Don't let her hear you ask that." "No chance in that since you haven't invited me around since you told me she wouldn't be practicing self-defense with me anymore." Don't bring that up either. She's crawling out of her skin with boredom. She'd take you up on your offer to spite me. That's because you're treating her like a China. Oh, that's because you're treating her like a China doll, Bear grumbles. Hey, I'm only following through with what the doctor said the last time we were in there. Vince crosses his arms. She's going to deliver in a couple of months and her fluid is low. She's to have no extra stress. You don't think it's stressful that you're keeping her cooped up in her room, surrounded by pillows and not allowed to do anything else but watch television? I make it up to her in other ways. He smirks, making me laugh. I thought pregnant women weren't into sex, Echo finally comments. I thought so too, though Sarah is in my business constantly. We have more sex now than before we got pregnant. She can't get enough of me. His smug smile would get him in trouble if Sarah were here. Her ears must have been burning because his phone starts ringing. Sarah, what's wrong? Is everything okay? He asked into his cell phone before giving her a second to greet him. There's panic in his eyes until something she says makes his whole body relax. Yeah, sure. I can do that on my way back. Yeah, don't worry. I'll get the right kind. He rolls his eyes. Love you too. Bear and I are already teasing him with ahs and kissing noises before he even hangs up. I have a bunch of assholes for friends. You're the idiot that keeps us around, Echo retorts, and for a second, no one says anything. A few seconds later, Vince smirks, making Bear and I laugh. He's got a point, Bear smirks. Yeah, and it may get me to rethink my choices. We ignore him, knowing all too well he's stuck with us. Hey, one of the guys shouts with a football under his arm while waving our little group over. We're about to get started. I've needed to get some exercise in, Echo says as he walks by our group and over to the field where the others are waiting. Let's go kick a little ass. I call over my shoulder as I follow him. I'm sore from working out yesterday and wish to hell I could sit this out. But there's no way I'm going to let Echo play alone. The war did things to change him, and not necessarily for the better, at least in some aspects. The moment I catch the ball in the middle of the third game, Bear tackles me to the ground, the air leaving my lungs in a pained whoosh. Being sore already and getting hit several times in previous games, it's the last hit I'm going to take today. I sit off to the side on a bench, which gives Beth, a club girl, the perfect opening to chat me up. Hey there, Tank. Beth. I nod as she takes a seat next to me. She's a little too small everywhere for me. I like having a good handful everywhere I touch, but she definitely has her assets. She's pretty in a conventional way. Strip away the low-rise jeans, the too small shirt, and a face full of makeup, and you'd be looking at the girl next door type of hot. If only she'd realize it too. How's everything going? Nothing new to report since the last time we talked. I wasn't trying to come off as abrasive, but we both know why she wandered over here. The idle chit-chat wasn't necessary. She nods as if thinking hard about something, but sooner than later, the request would come as I predicted. So, she runs her fingers up the length of my forearm. Are you and Echo planning on any company later? I was thinking I could stop by and keep you boys entertained for the night. More like we would keep her entertained. It's my turn to look like I have thinking to do. I'll have to ask Echo but you're welcome as far as I'm concerned. How about I text later on to let you know? She beams and bobs her head yes before walking off with an enthusiastic sway to her hips. I wished it happened to be our dazzling personalities that has her wanting to come over, but we didn't make a reputation for ourselves with the words coming from our mouths. Not that Echo says much. Echo's letting out much of his frustration out on the field today. I can be thankful for that at least. He may be too worn out to wake up in the night, though Beth will be long gone by the time he falls asleep. That's all that matters. Once the guys take a water break and rest their bruised limbs, I get it my chance to ask Echo about Beth. Hey, what do you think about Beth coming over tonight? Echo shrugs as if he doesn't care either way, and it's possible he doesn't. Well, I think it's a pretty decent idea. It's been a while since we had a lady friend over. Echo makes a disapproving sound in the back of his throat. Having a lady friend over, is that what you want to call it? I'm sure we could simplify it. Don't be a dick. Not everyone sees women like that. I frown. Like what? He peers over at me from the corner of his eye. A means to an end until the end. The end is where I'm headed, and I'm not looking for much more meaning than the simplicity of that. Doesn't sound much like living, but with all the promises that we made to the ones that we've lost, seems like a shit way to repay them. I replied, though this is not the first or the last time we'll have this conversation. Echo doesn't seem to even hear me. I wait for a few seconds until asking the original question for a second time. Echo shrugs again, and I'm going to take that as a yes. Taking out my phone, I text Beth to be at our house around 8:15. See, I'm not sure what kind of book this is. It's just sounding good already. It's an MC book. Of course you need your freaking toys. Jeez Louise. Ori. Echo and Tank, Chapter 2. Leaving Tank sitting on the couch, I get up to unlock and swing the door open. When I see it's Beth, I pull my phone from my back pocket and raise an eyebrow. Sorry, I know I'm early, she bites her lip. It's better than being late, right? I move my body and she comes inside. By the time I have the door closed, she is curled up in Tank's side. They are drawn to him. He's like the calm waves of an ocean, and I'm the undertow. Two parts of the same process, yet vastly different in nature. Standing by the door watching them, I have no urge to join their conversation. So instead of pretending that I have an interest, I head straight for the bedroom. Each of us knows where we will begin and end tonight, anyways. The sooner that I get rid of the extra energy in my body, the better chance of me sleeping through the night. Echo leaving the living room doesn't escape me. It never does. I know what he'll do the moment he moves into the spare bedroom. This isn't our first and will not be our last time sharing a woman. I may never know what it feels like to have a woman that is only mine again, and I see nothing wrong with that. It's been this way ever since Iraq. I kissed the palm of Beth's hand before helping her to her feet. Though she's only done this with us one time before, she isn't surprised to see Echo already sprawled out on the bed naked. He knows we've stepped into the room without needing to open his eyes. His hearing is even sharper than mine. He barks his first command to Beth, and she follows it eagerly by stripping herself of all her clothes. Come to me, he says. I watch her go to him without any hesitation as I take my time undoing the buttons of my shirt, placing it on the chair, folded, then my jeans. That's right. Take it. Choke on it. Deeper. Fuck, he sighs. My boxers and undershirt are next. Once everything is folded and neat, I turn to find Beth's hair tangled in Echo's fingers, her tongue reaching for the tip of his erection in desperation in hopes to please him. What she doesn't understand is that he's pleased just by having the control. He pushes her down on his erection, and it almost disappears into her throat. The sight is making me hard. He waits only a second after she starts to struggle, but the pause is the thrill for them both. I stroke myself for a few moments more as I watch them, but they aren't the only ones needing a thrill. Making my way up to them, I grab a hold of Beth's hip just as Echo lets her come up for air. She jerks at my unexpected touch, but smiles as I help her adjust on the bed. She's now in between Echo's legs, his erection poised between her lips and my tongue lapping at her entrance as I kneel on the floor at the end of the bed. It takes only a minute for her excitement to drip down my chin, and only a minute more for her hips to circle and grind. She's ready for me to enter her the moment my mouth took her pussy, but I'm a gentleman first and foremost. Fuck yes! Echo growls as her moans vibrate down around his erection, with one finger pressing hard at her forbidden entrance. It's enough to send her straight over the edge she's been hovering on. The feel of her pulsing against my chin makes my dick jump in anticipation, and eager to find my way inside her body. When I get to my feet, I run a hand along her spine and put pressure on her lower back. Instinctively, she tilts her hips up, leaving a perfect view to enter. Stay just like this, sweetheart, while I get a condom. Grab me one, Echo says, not looking at me. He's watching Beth's tongue toy with the opening of his erection. I watched I watched Tank leave to get the condoms from the bathroom. I should have let her stay there, her ass perched in the air waiting for his return, but I have a sudden urge. Without much effort, I maneuver her to her back. I hover above her and slowly wet one of my fingers in her dripping pussy. She leans her head back on a side, though once I have the wet digit pressing down into her back door, her eyes spring open and fixate on me. I'm eager to have this done with, but I'm not a big enough bastard to push in without preparation. This isn't your first. It wasn't a question, but she nods away anyway to confirm. I want to be here. I press even further in with my index finger. She whimpers and starts to relax against my probe. Okay? Yes, she responds in a heady breath. Good. I've just finished wetting and delving in a second finger when I hear Tank coming back into the room. He says nothing as he gets on the bed by Beth's head. She eagerly distracts herself as she takes his neglected erection into her mouth, and he watches her with half lidded eyes. While he whispers little praises, the tips of her fingers glide across her cheek. Of his fingers glide across her cheek and play at the edges of her hairline, and she relaxes even more around my fingers. With my thumb on her clit, Tank massaging and pinching her breast, it takes her only a few minutes to ride out her second orgasm. I can feel the wave crash her body, even with my finger still tucked in her asshole. Please, she whimpers after letting Tank's erection pop out of her mouth. Fuck, if I have to be begged twice. I lay flat on my back and Tank hands me the condom. I make easy work of it, but Tank already has his own and takes advantage of the circumstances. My sheath erection bobs against my stomach in anticipation as I watch Tank gather her in his arms. Tank, knowing Echo won't wait long to join us, I take advantage as he's slipping on his condom. Beth at first is limp, but not much help, but soon her legs come around me as she runs her hands over my partially shaved head. My erection is aching and I can't hold in the sigh. And I can't hold in the sighs. I take my sweet time entering her pussy. Even though the condom Even through the condom, I can feel all the warmth that she has to offer. My pace at first is slow, but with her sighs and moans egging me on, I find a swifter pace. I'm surprised that Echo is taking this long. His hands come around her middle, making me slow to a stop. He finds his position behind her, and with a slight push to Beth, she is leaning against my chest, giving him the perfect angle. Oh, God, this is so hot, y'all. This is just hot. Still just you two and whoever the third mystery person is. Okay. His hands come around her middle, making me slow to a stop. He finds his position behind her, and with a slight push to Beth, she is leaning against my chest, giving him the perfect angle. Beth's face changes and sweat appears on her brow. She might be looking into my eyes, but I'm not something she sees as she strives to relax for Echo. You're doing so good, I whisper to her. You okay? She nods and bites her lip. I can feel him between the thin barrier and have the urge to move, but I hold off until both of us are buried inside. We've done this so many times with so many girls that it only takes a look to know what to do next. Our movements are synced as we take our pleasure from Beth, and in return give her more than she can give to us. I lick her shoulder and follow a path up her neck. Echo nibbles up her spine and down the backside of her neck as he plays her nipples to top peaks. Two of my fingers find their way between us to stroke her hard clit. Honey, if you touch my clit at that point, I'm done. I would be done. I'd be squirting all over the place. Her fingers are digging into my shoulders and her teeth are clenching down as she tries to smother her cries of pleasure. Oh, see this shoulder, that muscle right there? That's where I'd be chomping down on. The pec right there. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be chomping down on that. Forget clenching my teeth together. It only makes me pump harder, and Echo is keeping up. Beth is the first to come, and I follow close behind as her hard contractions milk it from me. With one look to Echo, he falls back, taking Beth with him, and he continues to fuck her while I take care of my condom. Shouldering my way in between their legs, my mouth latches onto her hard clit, and my hands go straight to Echo's balls. Oh, this is getting better. It only takes a few more harsh thrusts before Beth comes against my mouth and Echo's balls tighten in my hands. The growl he lets out as his balls jet their load makes a shiver go down my spine. I help tilt Beth to the side and lay with them on the bed. As always, our visitor gravitates toward me and drapes herself accordingly. I accept the invitation. I accept the attention and connection. Can I stay? I shake my head. You know the rules, sweetheart. No one stays overnight. Echo is the first to leave the room. There is a decisive click when he closes the door behind him. I stay, letting Beth relax for a few more minutes before against my arm and chest. Echo. After shutting the door, I wonder why Tank bothers putting the girls at ease before he forces them to leave. It's all fucked up and done. It's all fucked and done. I don't see the purpose in it. They come here to use us for a good time or check off their sexual bucket list. We should handle them as materialistic as they treat us. I know Tank will get her out the door, so with that knowledge, I head to my bedroom and do my best to fall asleep. Okay, now this is like a dream thing. Do you know the mission? Yes, sir, I say to my commanding officer. We were being transported to a lookout 48 hours before the designated hit comes across our path. Anis Zenha, a known enemy of the states and a terrorist, our mission to take his life using my assault rifle. Good. Is Bell up to speed, or do we need to get him on the radio? I briefed him before the cavalry came to pick us up. Very good. He nods, tapping his fingers on the armrest, seemingly absent-minded. Does he know the location changed? The location's changed? Yes, we're going to the station you on top of a building on the outskirts of town instead. Yes, we're going to station you on top of a building on the outskirts of town instead. So in case of retaliation, you got a better chance of finding cover until we can send air support. Either the Iraqis are getting clever or we have a mole within our ranks. Several attempts have been made. What the hell? Reaching for the radio, I call to the other armed vehicle. Tank, change of plans. The line cracks. Go ahead. Locations changed to 33.3444 degrees north, 43.7813 degrees east. Again, with the bad connection, I think he said he got it. We must have looked on the map. He must have looked on the map because he's back on the radio within a few seconds. That bitch in the city. I know. We speak our concerns over the connection with only our tone, though I'm sure our commander realizes what all we aren't saying, but we have to trust that he knows what's best. You lose more while fighting within the ranks. I can hear his acceptance and the simple acknowledgement when he cracks over the line again. But as I'm about to put the radio back in its sling, the car in front of us lifts into the air from the explosion it detonated by rolling across it. The bottom of the Jeep is in flames as it smashes back to the ground and flips twice before settling onto its top. Tank! I can hardly hear my voice through the pounding in my ears as I wait for a response. The commander stomped on the brakes as soon as we saw the truck light up, but I started to unbuckle my belt. I heard the click before we took the air. Wake up! It's through a haze that I suddenly become aware. Tank is grappling with my limbs that are grasping for a dash that's not there to help me with impact. My ears are ringing from the explosion, though I hear perfectly as Tank says that we are home and safe. My cuts feeling like they've been reopened from the shrapnel, sharp and exacting, but scars are all that remain. I force myself to look at my arms that are now tangled with Tank's and notice all that has been healed from that night. The burnt skin by my elbow, the lacerations that had needed stitches on my forearms, and the lesser injuries that barely left their mark. My breathing starts to slow, my heart receding back into its cage. I'm back in Ohio with Tank. I let go of his arms, but he doesn't let go of me for another 2 beats of my heart. You okay now, man? I nod as I run my fingers through my sweat-soaked hair. Yeah, thanks. Night Echo. Try to get more sleep. Since this happens at least once a month, I'm not sure why he bothers. He's aware of the routine, and it doesn't include more sleep. At least, not for me. Ooh. And you know what? We ain't even gotten to the look, we're just now getting to the girly girl. So let's see what happens. If they have sex like that with somebody they don't care about, imagine what it's going to be like when they find somebody they do care about. Lydia, Chapter 3. Like a caged animal, I pace from one end of my prison to the other. It may be decorated as a bedroom, but there is no mistake to what it really is. I'm not sure how we got to this point, but I know I can no longer stay to watch what will unfold next. I didn't sign up for this, and for Axel to think I'd stick around despite knowing makes it clear he has a screw loose. I should have left when I found out about the guns, but no, I'm ignorant and believed it couldn't get any worse. How wrong I was. I wasn't meant to find out, but I couldn't help that I overheard. When he walked out to find me standing there with my mouth hanging open in shock, he grabbed my arm before my brain even caught up to what I'd heard. His grip iron-like on my arm, and I'm sure bruises will appear later. When we finally got to our car, I found my voice again. The biggest fight we've ever had unfolded. As soon as we arrived at our apartment, I jumped out of the passenger side like I would catch fire to the longer I stayed in his presence. I had been stupid to think I could get to our room and pack my things. He was right behind me asking what I thought I was doing. I told him I had to leave. I couldn't possibly be with him anymore knowing what he's involving himself in. I balked when he told me I needed to cool down and then I'd be reasonable. That'd be like telling Ori to calm down. Although I'd have to do that at least once a week. By all things saying, being reasonable is exactly what I was being. Who better to know what I'm willing to go along with? When I told him such, he locked me in our room. Who could have known that Axel would be resourceful enough for that? Being 3 stories up, I'm I'm seriously contemplating if I could jump without breaking something. Since my experience of throwing myself out of windows from this height is zilch, I wasn't positive. I wasn't positive I wanted to risk it. People in movies do it all the time, though it may not be the best idea to compare real life to movies. At this point, I'm running out of options. All I know is that I need to get out of here. Who knows what Axel or the other members of the club are willing to do to keep my mouth shut. Amidst my pacing, I catch movement out of the corner of my eye from the building next to mine, and a plan formulates. I don't like the thought of reaching out for help, but I think the situation calls for it. Opening the window, I wave wildly toward old Mrs. Armistead, where I could see she's getting her afternoon tea from the microwave. She walked right by without even noticing. Quickly, I look around to toss something against the glass without caring to lose it to the ground. Perfect. I grasp Axel's lotion bottle and watch as it bangs against her window. I cringe at the impact, but I'm relieved when it doesn't leave a single scratch. I wait a few seconds, but when I don't see her moving towards her window, I look around for something else. How about one of his shoes? I test the weight in my hands and decide it should do. I pose to send the shoe in the same direction before I notice her hunched form moving determinedly towards the window. I toss the shoe behind me just as she pulls the latch and swings it open. Lydia, did you see what just hit my window? It sounded like a bird. No, Mrs. Armstead. I sure didn't. Well, let's hope the thing knows better than to mess with my windows. I'll call animal control if it does it again. She looks around and then up into the sky as if said bird would have stuck around to hear her complaint. I'm sure it will think twice. Betty, since I have you here, can I ask for a favor? She finally moves her eyes back to me. What's the favor? I know it's with a southern drawl and they're in Ohio. My apologies. It's just the way I do it. I need you to make a phone call for me. It seems I've lost my phone and my charger, if you can believe it. Axel, thinking to grab it before he left, shows some of his faculties were working, but apparently not the right ones. I'm not sure I can, but I can't see why I need to make... I'm not sure I can, but I can't see why I need to make the call for you. Just come over and make it yourself. She's about to close the window when I started to plead. You see, Betty, I can't. I'm stuck. My door won't open, and I need someone to come that has a key to let me out. I've been meaning to replace the lock the last time this happened. I hope whoever gives the last judgment will forgive me for all these lies. This has happened to you before? She sputters, and it's like this is the only thing she seems to have heard from my pronouncement. She proceeds to lecture me on how irresponsible I've been with my safety. What if there was a fire? What if there's a break-in? Though I can't imagine how being locked away in a room with a gun would be bad if a burglar were to come, I don't say a word against her. When she's finally done, I remind her of what I'm really after. Oh, yes, sure. What's the number? I give her the only number I can think of that belongs to the only man that has the resources to get me out of the situation. I don't even know my brother's number, y'all. My daddy's and Mike's. That's the only numbers I know. I bite my lip as I watch her come back and ask me to repeat the number. My eyes go round and I try to protest loudly when she shuts the window as she starts to talk into the receiver. The old wench shut me out of my own phone call. Why did I think it was a good idea to include her in my escape plan? Oh, right. She's my only option. She's a crotchety old lady. That's what I'm going to be. Crotchety old lady. I hope in the end she doesn't forget what I actually need the conversation to result in. While I wait for her to hopefully return to tell me the outcome, I start to gather my things in a small bag. In hindsight, it's a good thing I have so little. I've never gotten attached to too many things that includes objects of my many life experiences. It only takes me 5 minutes to have everything packed, and I start searching for things I'll need until I can find my feet under me again. I'll rifle through his jeans pocket on the floor and produce a 20, and then go to his underwear drawer. I don't know how anyone can think it's a good hiding place since everyone has used it one time or another. Most people grow out of the habit and get smarter about it. I can't complain when I pull out several $100s and then leave a few more so he may overlook it for a while. I'm just about done scouring the room when Betty comes back to her window. Rick sounds like a nice man. Is he your father? I suppress the urge to scoff, but in truth, he's the closest I've got to a father, so I end up nodding my head. What did he say? I asked, a little impatient. Well, he agreed with me about you not taking your safety seriously, but said he would be here in about an hour to rescue you. She rolls her eyes as if rescue isn't the word that should have been used, but that is exactly what it is. I exhale in relief to know that the club leader of the Lost Angels, the father of my used to be best friend, is going to come and rescue me again for my stupidity. I really wish I hadn't needed to ask, but it's comforting to know that he still holds enough love for me or respect for his daughter to come get me. Most likely the latter. I don't deserve his love, not after what I did. I thank Mrs. Armstead before we both close our windows. She walks away from hers, but I hover around mine, waiting. I jump at every noise, knowing Axel will come back at any moment, and I would never live it down. I don't want to ponder how close to the truth I am. My whole body wars with being tense or lax when I see Rick jump out of his red four-door. I open the window and catch his attention. He's as cute as I remembered. He's way too old for me, but he's a good-looking man for someone his age. Martha really is taking good care of him. His hands go to his hips as he looks up at me. When we get you out of there, you're telling me everything. His tone brooks no argument, but I am hesitant to tell him what's going on with the scavengers. He breaks through my thoughts. Toss down your stuff. When I do, he looks up waiting for more, but he should have known it would only fit into that bag. When I swing my legs out the window, he gets the picture. My head jerks to where I know the front door is. As it slams closed, I presume and fear it to be the only person that has a key unless someone from the scavengers got assigned the duty of gathering me. Shit, I whisper as I look down. Hope you're ready for me. He catches me with surprising ease when he sets me on my feet. I grab his hand and run to the edge of Betty's building just in time to hear a curse from the room I just vacated. Then a loud crash that has me cringing into the wall. Rick places a comforting hand on my shoulder as we listen. Yeah, she's gone. I hear another crash. Shit, I don't know where she'd go. She must have had help. Then I see his face twisted so menacingly I can hardly believe it's Axel making it. His black hair slicked back, tattoos peeking out under around his collar, usually a frown twisting his lips. He wasn't exactly the picture of innocence to begin with, but I've never seen him this murderous. That little cunt jumped out the window. He hits his fist into the frame as he looks around. Rick grabs me so that our backs are plastered to the brick. I don't know of her having any friends around here. All right, I'll see you in 15. I want to check first what that bitch took. The window slammed so forcefully, I'm surprised there was any glass being rained down onto the grass. Yet, even through the glass, I can hear him yell a stream of curses as I imagine him finding the money I've taken. If he ever gets a hold of me, I'll pay for it in a very unpleasant way. Rick pushes my arm to get my attention and gestures for me to follow. We stick close to the building until we have a clear shot to the car. He starts to grill me even before the door on the side closes. Spill! The tires squeal in protest against the pavement as we take off from the curb. I don't know what to tell him or even where to start, but he did deserve to know something. Axel and I got into a really big fight. He locked me in the bedroom to cool me down, but you know how I feel about feeling trapped. I need an out, so I called you. No, you had Betty call me. She talked my ear off for about 20 minutes. You know I have better things to do. Also, don't take me for a fool. I don't buy your story. You've called me 3 times in your life for help. It's when things get really bad and you can't find another way out. So spill it all, Lydia. I heaved out a sigh and looked between him and the road. Putting him in the middle of this mess really didn't seem like a grand idea. I'm already putting him in the middle, so digging him in deeper doesn't seem like a good idea. A good way to say thank you for the saving my ass. So what can I tell him without sharing too much? As close to the truth as possible. Axel and I really did get into a fight, but it's because I overheard something I shouldn't have. He opens his mouth, but I put up my hand. I can't get into the specifics. Just know I couldn't be in the middle of that shit they're doing anymore. He threatened me, and I was locked in until the scavengers decided what to do with me. I can't unhear it. I shrugged. I couldn't stick around to find out what their verdict would be. He runs a hand through his short silver hair. Well, shit. You're going to have to lay low for a while. Do you have a place in mind to stake out until things cool down? He looks over for a second to catch my head shake side to side. All right, I've got a place for you. It's just recently vacated and it's only about a mile from the clubhouse. I'll be able to keep an eye on you, though when it does, you're telling me. He looks at me with a stern look. Alrighty. Maybe he's talking about when it cools down. You don't need to do that. I have some money. This isn't up for negotiation, at least until it's calmed down a bit. They won't look for you somewhere so close. He's probably right. Anyone that knew me at all would think I jumped on the closest bus and rode it until its last stop, then go from there. I've done that more times than I dare to count, so I take him up on his generous offer. Is Emmy still pissed at me? He snorts. You know she is. You disappeared without any goodbye or a clue to where you went. Best friends don't make a habit of doing that, so I've heard. Did you tell her why I left? At least the version I told him. The truth still shames me. Wasn't my place or job to clean up that mess, though I never thought she wouldn't forgive you if you explained. She still live in town? Hell no, she got out as soon as she could, and I couldn't be prouder. He sits up taller in his seat. This shocks me enough to look over at him. Where did she go? Chicago. She works for a fancy schmancy architectural company. No shit? I know. I was surprised. Had no idea she loved building so much. I did, I say. Secrets are for best friends, after all. He takes another open job. I sigh. I'm sorry. Sorrier than I could ever say. I'm not the one that needs to hear it, he replies. I think you're at least one that should have one. You took me in when I had no one. You took a role that wasn't yours to give me, but shared it equally with your blood daughter. And I took it for granted the moment I walked out of your life. He's quiet for a long bit. She's coming home in a few weeks. Maybe you should stick around to explain then. I start to nod because what else is there to say? An apology is in order, and since I've reached out to this family once again, I owe them that at the very least. It takes about 45 minutes for my old apartment to get to my older / newest home in Chilliwaukee, Ohio. Another 15 to get to that far south of town, past the clubhouse, into a little house nestled in a cul-de-sac. It's a simple house, easily overlooked. White, little blue shutters, blue door, and a white wrapped around privacy fence. Seems perfect for me. Here, he hands me the keys that I presume let me into the house. You're not going to walk in with me? Do I look like a welcome committee to you? Plus, I need to get back to the club. I've got work to do. My hand goes to the handle, and before I step out, he speaks again. Oh, and here. He hands me one of those prepaid phones, the old school and untraceable kind. Call if you need anything. The number's already programmed in. Thanks, Rick. I gave a smile that he returns. Then he drives off, leaving me to my new temporary home. The neighborhood is nice, quiet even though it's 3 in the afternoon. I should be hesitant about going into a new place, all things considered, but I'm not. The gun in my little bag will be as much protection as I need if trouble has followed, and Rick wouldn't put me in danger knowingly. Walking up the paved drive, I take in the cute shrubbery lining the walkway. Coming to the front door, I admire the stained glass window of a rose in the door and the little patio with its single step. Inside opens up to a kitchen, beyond that a living room with a single couch. Another door, I presume, leads to the backyard. It does, and it's just as simple as the inside. Open, no bushes, a fence around the perimeter, but with a gate door on one side. When I go to lock it, I notice it doesn't work. There are 2 other doors to the side off the living room, one a bedroom, the other the bathroom. Thankfully, there's another door to the bathroom through the bedroom. It's not as if it really matters, but I'd find it annoying to have to walk out of the bedroom too far to use the bathroom. When I take another look around the little house, I notice another door that looks like it may be a pantry, but turns out to be a pair of stairs to the basement, where the washing machine and dryer are. Damn, I want this house. Doesn't take long to get settled. This is my kind of home, little to fuss with and everything in plain sight. The bedroom doesn't have a closet, but it does have a set of dresser drawers. Toiletries are put up quickly, and most go into the tub anyways. I'm a minimalist, even with my looks. My auburn hair does its own thing, and I've learned to embrace the wavy mess that it is. I only ever coat my lashes to bring out my green eyes and chapstick to make my lips shine. Also to not have them chapped. My nose, not all that small on my round face, still bears the scar of a nose ring I thought would look cool. The small smattering of freckles deters the eyes from the scar, so most don't notice. The rest of me I understand with off the shoulder tees or the baggy kind of jeans that hug my curves because I can never seem to find any that are loose enough about my hips. Either way, I am a full figured woman and I can't hide that no matter what I wear. But I try anyway. Heading out to the living room, I realize one thing that I can't do without television. At the very least, a TV and a way to watch some movies. I know Rick said to call if I needed anything, but it may be a good thing to get a walk in and familiarize myself with the area on my way to see him. Maybe he can put me to work. After all, I can't possibly stay here for free. And if I work for him, he may not need the payment in actual cold hard cash. I need what money I have to make a quick getaway if need be. That reminds me. Going back into the bedroom for the cash, I take it from the side pocket of my bag and go to the bathroom. I get the 20 and fit it in my back pocket before I grab the empty shampoo bottle in the shower that I've used for this purpose for years and stuff the rest of the cash in for safekeeping. The 20 should be more than enough if I run into trouble and need a ride home from a cab, and to be perfectly honest, I'm starving. I could use some lunch while I'm out. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to the club, but it gives me plenty of time to realize not much happens in this town. Maybe it's just the part of town I'm in. I remember where Rick lives, there's more action, though I think that's closer to the middle of town. I remember it being near the little restaurant. What's its name again? Franny's? Danny's? Something like that. This side of Chilliwaukee is mostly residential, filled with older couples. I saw a few kids, but there weren't many. As I move closer to the club, there's nothing else in sight. It just looks like an old warehouse, and from what Rick told me about it years ago, that's exactly what it was at one time. You couldn't mistake it for a warehouse now, since about a quarter mile out, music hits your ears. It's just a small buzz of noise, but now that I'm closer, I can tell it's Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. Never heard of it, I don't think. Haven't heard that one in a while, but sometimes I forget that most of the men in the club are older. This club is nothing like the Scavengers, and I couldn't be happier by the fact. There's a rumble coming down the road from the other direction, but I know from the style of bike they were on, it isn't here for me. I didn't know anyone with a BMW 1150 GS in a color you don't see often together, brown and black. I wouldn't ever think those colors go together, and this bike isn't convincing me otherwise. However, the man riding the bike could maybe convince me if he were to put his mind to it while on his knees between my thighs. He's pretty to look at. It could have been that hard jawline that made me brush off the fact his blonde hair is long enough to put in a bun. Or maybe it's those lose your soul eyes. I doubt I could care for anything besides getting lost in them. He doesn't even look my way as he jumps off his bike and walks into the club. Someone that pretty, I can't even blame not looking my way. But I'm not here for him or his fuck me any which way body. Reminding myself I just literally jumped out of a window to get away from my last relationship, there is no way I'll be jumping into a new one anytime soon. Ta-da! That's all I got. My voice is going, girls. So this book's free on KU. Sinful Duo, Lost Angels MC. Oh, crappers. And this is book 2. And 4.5 stars. $1.99 to buy. So go get it and read it. All right, girls. Tomorrow night we have Miss Candy Fox and Harlan Cooper. Oh, by the way, the first book to this series is 99 cents. Called Simply Sinful. Oh, and I purchased it back on March 22nd. So apparently it's in my already got it and didn't even know it. Apparently I purchased both of them. All right, ladies. And if there's any gents watching, let me put my glasses on. I don't even know. I see hots and stuff. All righty. Y'all have a good evening, and we shall talk at you later. Happy reading. Oh, and Orly, go make sure your mini-me is put up and without a phone, okay? It's my bedtime now. So, love you girls. Bye.